different kinds, or maybe like two main categories now. I would say like two main category, and then each category has two subdivisions, right? So fixed ratio, and then we have this variable ratio, fixed interval, and variable interval, right? I really want to everybody to have this thing like have a good mental picture of all this these four different kinds of lines, so that you will not be confused, right? I mean, when I was starting this, many years back, more than 10 years back, this I was very very confused, and then I think I got quite a lot of MCQs wrong, when it comes to the schedule of reinforcement. And then the most popular kind of MCQ, which I think would definitely come out for your final, right, is that which kind of schedule of reinforcement um, showcases a scalar pattern, right, or a stepwise pattern. I mean, during that time, I only remember like stepwise, and then I didn't notice that it's actually a curve, it's a curvature, right? It's a curve. It's not like horizontal line and then this thing go up, right? No, no, no. This is a curve. This is a curve. It's a quadratic curve. Yeah. Because in the past, yes, because this curve is not always there, right? In the past, if you look at Skinner's experiment, sometimes because the printing wasn't great. Okay, the printing wasn't great. It's not his fault, right? So he couldn't really show the curvature, and then it's like a horizontal line. This thing go up. So that's how I memorize it, and I chose a stepwise, step like or something like staircase. I think that answer is wrong. Okay, that answer is wrong. And later on, I will explain why this thing is scalar fashion, right? So, but before that, okay, let me give example of what a fixed ratio is. Okay, fixed ratio. This kind of stuff usually occur if you're a factory worker, you're a blue collar worker. You're paid like a certain amount of money, for a certain n amount of items you manufacture, you assemble, right? So it's like, if you work in a factory, and then how many parts, right, of this machine you make, right, or you assemble, and then you pay based on that, right? You pay like say like $100 for every like 10 items you assemble into something, right, into a machine. Yeah, so that's how it works in a factory. Applying to factory worker, car workers on the assembly line, right? They follow a fixed ratio schedule of reinforcement, right? And then variable ratio, this is what happens when you visit a casino, right? So we had a casino here in Sentosa, right? I've not been there. I've been to Sentosa many times, but because you have to pay $100 as a Singaporean, right? I mean, no way I'm going to do that, right? So, but then you have all those machines, right? Yeah. So, I mean, all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's jackpot machine, right? A jackpot machine, for instance, right? So you never know, right? I mean, it's programmed. I mean, it follows in certain algorithm. I mean, that's not under your control, right? And then the thing is just to get you addicted, and then somehow you may get a reward, you may not, okay? But that's like you're getting addicted to it, but because most people are addicted to that jackpot machine, and then that's why the gradient is so is so steep, yeah. But then the rewards is just very very unusual, right? You never know, right? Yeah. So yeah, so it's a very scary schedule, I would say. Now we turn to variable interval before I talk about this fixed interval, right? Because this is quite complicated, right? Variable interval is the most naturalistic, right? This is so the gradient is the least steep, right? It's still steep, but it's not as steep as fixed ratio and this variable ratio. No way, right? No way. So, for instance, so this is found very very interestingly, right, in hundreds of experiments done by all the behavioral psychologists, and of course spearheaded by B.F. Skinner, right? And then so basically it's like a rat received reinforcement for bar pressing, or some pigeon, receiving a food pellet for packing, yeah, but only at something like a certain time interval, right? Say like after 10 minutes, after 20 minutes, after 40 minutes, something like that, right? So you will only receive some kind of reward, right? If it's repeat that behavior, right? And then that interval, of course, is not fixed, right? And then, but however, the animal can learn, even we humans, we can learn, we know that the thing is kind of random, but, and then we kind of time ourselves, to do the right response. Yeah. So in the classroom, sometimes, this can happen in the form of unexpected tests, right? So that's kind of variable schedule. But usually, in a university setting, we give everybody a hint, lah, right? So at least you're kind of prepared, right? So, right. So variable interval schedules are more effective than fixed interval schedules in maintaining consistent performance, right? Academically speaking, all right? Because we just don't know when the thing is coming, right? So if you want to get distinction, all you can do is to prepare yourself. Okay, study on a daily basis. Yeah. And then there's also something like auditing, right? Yeah. So random and unannounced governmental inspections. Wow, right? Of workplaces. Yeah. So that's also very, very effective. Maintaining safety standards. Yeah. Also. Okay, now we turn to fixed interval, right? So why I leave this thing to the last, this is what we are sticking to, right? In university, every time you look at your timetable, right? The deadlines, right? The date dues, all that stuff, okay? So all our schools, are, especially universities, I would say university, right? Rely heavily on fixed interval schedules. So, basically, you can procrastinate, right? Let's say we have this, this quiz. Let's say a week later, right? That means this week you can basically chill, right? You don't really have to rush yourself, right? So yeah, so the rushing will start. Okay, let's say it happens next week. Our quiz happens next week, right? So this is it slopes upward, right? So initially this week is that we're taking it easy, right? We're taking it easy, right? So this is a gentle slope upward, and then later on next week when next week come, right? Yeah, so this is a huge, a line basically is almost like a vertical line going upward, right? So that's how that's how we get this quadratic shape, yeah. I hope that this is clear, right? So, and then can also apply to election, yeah? Let's say like, lead up to election time, and then, there's so many activity